Welcome back to yet another WARNO match. This is an exciting one, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. I don't know if I actually made an intro for this. If so, well, you guys should thank all the patrons on the channel for supporting the channel and allowing me to spend more time on things like this to give you guys a better show. Now, in this one, we're playing a 3 versus 3 on loop. Really fun map to play and a lot of good learning opportunities when you play this map, because people really make a huge mistake when playing on the left and also when playing on the right side. So we're gonna also talk about that throughout this video, but we have a really fun little fight that is happening or going to happen in the middle. Now we have an Alouette recon that is going to the front line to quickly spot who we're up against so that we can determine which units to buy next. For instance, if you're fighting against the Unternehmen, you should probably get some more infantry. If you're fighting against the 79th, you're gonna need some more anti-tank infantry. Now on the right side we have a recon that is doing a very interesting little flank all the way to the enemy base, because helicopters are quite stealthy and they fly relatively low, so you need something that is also airborne to really spot these guys. So that is the chance, or that is the mission of this guy. There's a recon unit in this Alouette, so hopefully they can do the trick. Now what we also have is a couple of Mistral units that are moving towards the middle here. We have a couple of supply trucks going with the infantry, we have some chasseurs, we have a Roland 3, we have a couple of AMX 30Bs as well. Now, let's get started. So the Eclaireurs, the recon units, are using the river kind of in a Top Gun mode. I wish you could decrease the altitude of these helicopters when they're actually flying. You can decrease it when they are standing still, but not when they're flying, which is kind of a shame. I wish you could do that. That would really make it so much more interesting to play or perform these flanks with recon infantry. Now, we do get AT gemmed by infantry that is already over here, and we are indeed fighting against the Unternehmen, so Major Ling Ling is already all the way up in our zone here, with Jaeger units, Parl-Fagat units, and recon units, Aufklärer as well. This guy somehow is just making it all the way to the back, but gets doinked here, because this is just completely undefended. Now, going back to my point of view, we're going to keep it mainly like this, so that you guys can know what I'm thinking and when I'm thinking it. Now if we could just go to one of the enemy players, you can see that the helicopter is actually not being spotted. It is very, very powerful to use recon units like this. So I recommend it greatly. Now we're just holding our AMX 30s here. These guys got the autocannons, the 20mm. They're just holding at the reverse, like the slope of the hill here. And the moment my infantry makes it up there and gets into contact with them, that's when we are going to move my infantry or my tanks up. Now we got a couple of chasseurs with AMX 10s, really good transports. They have 3 frontal armor and a 20mm, and they give the IFV bonus, which basically reduces the suppression infantry takes. Now look at this. Our recon does get spotted by a unit over here, T-55, firing away with the NSVT. But we are gonna just keep going. Usually this is like an automated response. When they do spot an enemy, they will start firing at it. Now the Alouette itself is already spotting an Uragan, and we spot the field depot, the FSP. So that already gave me a lot of very good intel, and we're gonna try to just take this guy out immediately. Now over here the Alouette is leading the charge, and with that we move our AMX-30Bs up to engage everything in this little place. And we have chasseurs and sappeurs moving in to engage that infantry there. Powerful God is going to be immediately suppressed by the AMX-30s, and we're not going to have that hard of a time there. Now unfortunately, we did actually get spotted, and he was paying attention there, so the Eclaireurs are about to get clapperonied by the Mi-24. But hey, they did their job. They made me spot the fob, which is right over here. And yeah, that already is like a really good amount of intelligence for one recon unit. So that was a worthy sacrifice there. So the chasseurs, flamethrowers, and the AMX-13s and 10s are just hanging out in the back. Now the AMX-13 only has one front armor, AMX-10 has 3. And sometimes that actually enables them to take on like an 80 gem hit to the face. It does make them a lot more resilient. Now we have a lot of TO-55s coming in. These are flamethrower tanks. Definitely going to be a problem, and the main gun has 14 AP. So, you know, at close range, that scales up. So 14 AP is something like 20 or 23 AP at close range, and it's going to basically one-tap any tank that it fires at. Now, because of that intelligence, we do go ahead and buy the AMX AUF-1, which is our artillery piece. Really good. 9 even has penetration value on it, which is quite surprising. And here is the horde of TO-55s. Chasseurs doing their best, not landing a single hit unfortunately, because the flamethrowers are just demolishing them. Once again, the tracers of things like special effects, but also the flamethrower do not show up. But that is a bug that is known at Eugen, and there's already a hotfix in place. It just needs to be actually implemented. They're basically, yeah, it should come out really, really soon, so don't worry about that too much. Now here we're just grouping up our AMX-30s and AMX-10s and AMX-13s up in a nice little row here. We're going to engage the TO-55s. We immediately destroy one, damage the other one mortally. AMX-13s are still okay. We did lose one of them, but we're dealing a ton of damage, especially with the autocannons there. And we fall back with one of the hurt ones, and we destroy the remainder with that. We also have commandos here. Special forces, shock troops. They have 2 M249s, 8 of these SIG 543s, and also the LRAC anti-tank. Not the best anti-tank, but in the hands of special forces, they'll definitely do a ton of damage. Now the AMX opens up on the enemy artillery position, and if we just go into neutral mode, you guys can see how vulnerable the fob really is. And that is one of the 2 fobs that they have, so this is already going to hurt him big time and not enable him to fire the Uragan and the Napalm artillery the entire time. So we get some really nice close hits here, already reducing it to 6 HP, and with a couple more hits, there goes the fob. And that is going to hurt him, because if he removed like a card of supplies or compensated in any way, shape or form to get a fob, he's gonna feel it, and he's gonna feel it very soon. So with that one little recon that we basically made, you know, fly over the river here, which was completely invisible to the enemy team, we took out a 200 and, what is it, 220, 260, something like that. Let's say 250 points worth of units and a lot of supplies. Yeah, 250 points. That is going to hurt him big time, and well, he now calls in Mi-26, so that is going to actually start biting into his supplies of Mi-26s. But fair enough, he still gets 2, and each of them has 6k supplies, so that's 12,000 supplies. But, you know, we still denied him 16,000 of that stuff. So we might have actually influenced his artillery missions quite a bit, and made him maybe think twice before he fires. Now, we are starting our advance here with all of our autocannons, and this is really where the 5th Blinde is strong, because you can just kind of line up a couple of these VAP-T20s and AMX-10s and just go ham on the enemy infantry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Metis teams that are going ham on our units, so we quickly fall back with those and just let the infantry do the main fighting. But since one of them is destroyed or almost destroyed, we did move them up a little bit. But somehow, I think that Metis team still had a line of sight on this guy. That is quite surprising. Actually, yeah, no, as a matter of fact, they do have a nice line of sight. That is very impressive. Now with that, we do also move a quad stack of Eclaireurs. These are recon units to make our job a lot easier. We destroy Estrella on the left. T-55 AM2 kind of ruins our day, so we fall back there. And the main fight is happening in the town here. We got some commandos fighting against Fallschirmjäger Metis teams. And the Fallschirmjäger are special forces and shock trained as well, so we definitely want to be watching out for those. Luckily for us, we have AA, because that Mi-8 with its rockets could have been quite a bit of a problem for all of our units here. They can basically single-handedly destroy everything. So it's not really a good time if that does happen to fire on their units. Especially since they have more Fallschirmjägers over here. That could have diminished my manpower quite a bit. Now on the left side, this is what I mean with a stalemate. If both members are attacking each other head on, it really just comes down to numbers. And whoever just has, you know, the better line of sight. You don't want to go into that kind of fight. You want to focus on the left flank here if you're on the left. And look at that, because both players are really just only concentrated on the zone itself. Whereas this forest is such a good opportunity to flank from. And give you a lot of intel. If you have one recon unit here, you can see all of that AA, all of these tanks, and make your job a lot easier. And the same goes for the right side, and the enemy is actually making good use of it, and so is our teammate. But he's playing it very, very carefully. Now, as I said, destroying the fob probably made him a little bit angry, so he has sniped our command with his, I believe, his napalm artillery. You know, fair enough. There's only a couple places that people usually put their command in. I was hoping for him to target this, because that's initially where we put him in there. And then move him to the left. Maybe I should have, you know, I don't know. It's kind of difficult to hide a command here on this plateau. It's either in the forest here, or in this little place here. Now we do move our commandos and group anti-char. These guys got double a PLAS. Unfortunately, they are out of ammo, but they did quite a bit of damage on that T-55. And, yeah, they're just falling back slowly, because we cannot deal with those tanks yet. I do move another group anti-char up. Still good on RPGs. Poor commandos getting absolutely destroyed by the Sapries with RPOs. And again, you don't see the special effect, so you kind of just don't really know what's going on. But once again, it's getting fixed. The fix is already in place, actually. That just needs to be implemented into the game. So, soon. Here we go. Group anti-char doing their best to try to get to the tank, but unfortunately just getting absolutely RPO'd into smithereens. We got a plane incoming here. Su-22 M4 napalm bomber. Unfortunately, we miss everything, but so is life. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. Okay, there we go. So our teammate is, you know, using the little flank, or the little left flank a little bit more. So definitely props to him, but that should be your main priority in the beginning. If you don't know if you can take the town, just forget about the town. Go for the flank, then you can cut him off. Just like Medi did against me in the 1v1 I posted earlier. Ooh, two Stinger teams, both missed. That MiG-31, and we also don't hit him with a roll in 3. Maybe the second shot? Nope. Unfortunate. Now we're starting to load up on some AMX-30s, because we do see a lot of like T-55s being pushed into the forest here, and probably also in the back. But before we do anything like that, we first need to get supplies. So we got a nice little supply line going in. We got some more napalm artillery hitting places where we aren't. So that is completely fine by me. Eclaireurs over here spots quite a few units that are on the left flank. Yeah, it is just not really looking that good at the moment. Now the Fallschirmjäger versus two of our Eclaireurs. Not gonna end well for the Fallschirmjäger. We aren't special forces trained or whatever, but still, one squad versus two. Not gonna end well. But there come the Sapries. Luckily for us, the Sapries are probably out of ammo and also very heavily stunned. So the Eclaireurs are actually having a field day destroying those. And here we go. The 5th Blindé power shows once again. Our autocannons just completely demolished the infantry. We did get a Metis shot from there, but we just decided to move in and use these buildings as cover to try to destroy as many of these Monostrelices as possible. We have more commandos coming in as well. They are basically just going to drive all the way to the RPOs, since they don't have any anti-tank weapons. So we unload the first one and the second one here, and we're just going to walk them through the buildings, just to make sure. There's the Metis team that was bothering us. They're going to take some shots from a quad mini-me of the M249s. That's going to do a ton of damage. Now this AMX-30 B2. Quite expensive, 130 points, but wonderful fire support. Firing away at the Metis teams there. And you can just pump out AMX-30s like no other. You can just keep spawning them in and just wreak havoc on the enemy positions. Unfortunately for us though, the Metis team still hits basically every shot it fires. Somehow after taking a couple hits through the window. Which was very unfortunate for us, and that might be the end of that AMX-30. Nope. Barely avoided that one. That was lucky. Now our supply situation is definitely good at the moment. Usually that is one of the, you know, one of my Achilles heels. I usually don't focus too much on that. But noticing that, you know, moved my tanks up, he decides to RD my units, and I did a preemptive retreat here with my units. Because that is how I like to play. I like to attack and then retreat, attack, retreat, attack, retreat. And each time I push a little bit further, but then retreat a little bit less. And that way you make sure that you're always on the move and you never are, you know, you're not predictable. Because that is really a big thing about this game. People are way too predictable. I do see a really interesting push happening on the right side. But unfortunately for Jeffrey, well, he already gave it away with all that smoke. And it is just going to probably get RD'd and destroyed by helicopters. But I really, really like this. This is a really good push. But yeah, everything is being spotted by Red Svetkas here. That smoke really didn't do anything. And there comes the Mi-24 as expected. And that's just not going to be a good time. He's probably a little bit relatively newer. So definitely really good strategy that he tried to implement. It just didn't work against that opponent, but probably in a lot of other games, it'll have worked just fine. His opponent was just ready for it. Now more Sapri RPOs, immediately getting stunned by the huge amount of firepower coming from these guys. We also have a new double stack of chasseurs moving up. And we are once again moving all of our autocannons up to the front line, and we're just slowly pushing the Unternehmenzentrum out of the center zone. Now the enemy team is still +2. So it is looking quite dire, but I just kept telling my teammates, guys, relax, take it slow, don't do anything stupid, just try to push in a nice organized fashion. Now our ally did make it into the forest. Sapris are getting hammered. He's also moving some M113s in and some military police. The Stingers here are kind of just being useless. They're not in a position where they can fire at any incoming helicopters. Now we do have another plane incoming. We have one Roland, one Mistral, definitely lacking a bit on the anti-air field. But usually I just need them to hit once. You know, once each. But they kind of disappoint me pretty much every time. So we are going to focus a little bit more on anti-air. I just needed more infantry to first consolidate my position, and then I'll focus on anti-air. That's usually how I do it. And it is not really, you know, it is not the best way to do it, for sure. Here we go, Commandos moving up to the front. L.Rack immediately taking out the BTR-60. And the Sapris have just no chance of getting out of this. So they're just getting hammered right now. Now double chasseurs, making short work at a Monostreliki, but we do spot a T-55. Luckily, the T-55 gets doinked by... Did we destroy with the chasseurs? 850 meters. Yeah, they were within range. Now I do move my AMX-30 in, mainly because of the autocannon, so we got a couple of these vehicles moving in here to just push through here, try to break it. And over here we spot a quad stack of infantry, and we're trying to just get some firepower right on top of them. And we do decide to get some artillery of our own right on top of that complex there. Now as I said, you can take an AT-GM hit to the face. We just took one from, I believe, a Fagat team. Yep. And that actually, well, we survived. So the only thing we need to do is just get our supply truck up there. Now speaking of supplies, we do have an FSP of our own, which I'm using to resupply my supply trucks with. And now we have two AMX AUF-1s firing away at this little group here. I just want to see what kind of damage that does. Oh, here we go. Oh, that was right on target, dude. Oh, that was gorgeous. Yep, that's a little bit of, as the Dutch say, cookie of own dough. Basically, you just repay the favor. So with that, we move the Sapeurs flamethrowers up. just to basically burn down the remainder of these forces. But we get some nasty shots from the T80 BV, who is spotting the hitbox of this building, which is like above way here. Which kind of makes it a little bit of a sad occurrence, because it would probably be really good for recon, but it's horrible for regular infantry because you just get hammered by everything from the vicinity. So it's kind of good that that got destroyed. Now we can move on to some better buildings. So we got a couple of commandos still moving up. We start pushing forward, and then our retreat line is, you know, further towards the front line, and we have a beautiful supply line going on here as well. But now we're up against Panzerjäger, and if you didn't know, Panzerjäger are only good against Panzers. 2 RPGs. Insane stats, really insane stats. The only good thing that balances the Panzerjäger is the minimum, like the range of 500 meters. It's really not the best, so you can do some tank on Panzerjäger action if you are careful. Now Major Ling Ling is just getting pushed out of the town, although he has the better infantry. But we're making use of our firepower like this, and we destroy that BMP really easily. The sappers with the flamethrowers are going to make short work of that unit. And here we go, they're just burning into a little crispy hot dog right there. But we got to deal with that T80 BV over there, so we do line up all of our tanks, and we have more infantry in reserve just in case something goes wrong. But since we noticed this little bit of a gap here, we're gonna tunnel our infantry through these industrial zones all the way to the back. Here we go, SU-22 M4 Napalmer coming in. We hit it once with the Roland, and another time with the Mistral, and we take that out. And that is kind of the hope that I had when I used this double team here. They just need to hit once each, and usually they are able to fire twice. But here we go, we're making some short work of those guys. Supply trucks are rushing to the front line because we are taking a lot of hits, and we don't really have that much infantry. Although I did spawn a ton of it, like this is close to my limit. I have some reserve units, like more flamethrowers. I have some recon units left, but all of my commandos are on the front line. All of my chasseurs are basically on the front line. I do have some more that are coming in, but it's really kind of just, you know, skeleton crews at this point. Now with that, we do take over the zone temporarily, and we notice that there's a Fallschirmjäger Führer unit over here. So what we do with our artillery is fire where we think it's going, just like Sun Tzu tells us to do. So we fire right at the corner here, which is really the only realistic place that he can put his leader in. So we're taking care of that. But to follow up with it, we are moving AMX-30 to engage it. Now chasseurs over here are going to make short work of a BTR-80. Really good units, honestly. 45 points, and they get the IFV trade. So if you have like AMX-13s nearby, they basically take less suppression. Now, right now we're just rushing forward, not to let the enemy have an easy win. And try to neutralize and take over the middle point here. AMX-13s are just charging forward. Some of them are taking a little bit of a questionable route, I gotta say. They're kind of going over the hill, and they're gonna expose themselves to that T80 that is still somewhere on the left side, which is not a good idea. Now we take a really nasty AT-gem hit to the side, but we are determined to keep moving. We quickly smoke it though, and then we're gonna use that smoke to break through his line of sight and just keep driving, because he's not gonna be able to fire again once we're in his blind spot there. So instead of T80s, it's now BMPs over here, but luckily our tanks can fire at them. And guess what? They can even fire at them from all the way over here, because it's nice and high, and none of the buildings really block your line of sight. And with that, the command infantry is down. I wonder where they actually fell. Can we see any of their any crispy bodies? I'm not quite sure. Oof, yeah, that's a lot of AT gems over there. A BMP2, Forgot team, probably some more in there. But yeah, our teammate is being a little bit on the passive side. He has lost a lot of units. I did tell him to basically move off as soon as I have this smoked, but what you want to do in this situation, guys, literally just smoke off a corner of it, or like a strip of land like this, and just shove your command in there, and just keep it smoked. Because the longer you wait, the faster you lose. The same with this unit, just smoke off this little area, get your Fuchs in there, try to move through the forest, and just hold a corner. You don't need to take the entire sector, just hold a little bit of a, you know, just put your pinky toe in there. But, man, the fight I had in this place was really, really fun for me. The only downside is obviously the invisible special effects. But man, I had a ton of fun. Look at the AMX-30s just going ham left and right. We also call in our AMX-10 RCs for some good recon. We have Jeffrey helping us with his Eagle, but missing everything, unfortunately. And what I want to do now is actually go into neutral mode and see what their supply situation is. Mi-26 is out, munitions are out, Urigan is basically out of ammunition. He doesn't have any supplies left. This FSP is still good on supplies, but that is being used by Isaac. So really, really good mission with the recon there in the beginning, basically diminishing this guy's supplies big time, and he cannot fire these 24/7. As a matter of fact, some of these are actually low on ammunition to begin with. He only had 5 rockets left. This guy's on half. This Urigan is basically out, only 3 rockets. So that one recon might have meant that, you know, that we were able to win the middle. He might have single-handedly caused that. So that's what I want you guys to do as well. Do some risky stuff. Don't play the same game every time. A, it is boring, and B, it is predictable. Don't be predictable. I could have probably also gotten like maybe an amphibious recon vehicle to just literally swim all the way over here, but that is going to be spotted quite easily. But I didn't fly the helicopter over here because that is really close to his side, whereas while over here it is kind of like, it's kind of in areas where people don't really go. Usually you fight initially over this area and you're over here, so you know you can kind of just skip in between. Now with that, our opponent does quit. He put up a good fight, but we just made use of our firepower in a better way and pushed him out of that town. And we have a really nice line of units coming in. So we have man-pads in the back, we have our tanks kind of in the middle in a good supportive position, and then we have our main fighting forces all up in the front. And we are getting a nice amount of supplies up to the front line as well, and we're using an FSP to get our units back on full supplies. So our supply trucks to get them back up. Now we do make one mistake, and this is something that I actually preach about that you guys shouldn't do, which is to fire next to your fob. These M110s are basically firing next to their fob, and an Urigan or something will have a spread like this, so it's almost guaranteed to destroy the fuel depot. But we make the same mistake. We quickly moved our AMX OF1s here to resupply, and we forgot to move it back up here, so we actually fired next to the fob, and the enemy artillery did not like that. Really nice Apache from Jeffrey, doing a nice amount of damage there. Also firing in Hellfire at the BMP2s, missing. What is the accuracy on that? 70%. Dishonorable. Now this is a good thing. I see a nice group of units here. This smoke is mine, by the way. I'm smoking it for him. But there's a bit of inaction from Jeffrey's side. And in the chat I was just kind of just asking him to see what's going on, but none of them said a single word throughout this chat. So please also communicate with your teammates. There's nothing worse than playing with teammates that don't communicate, ask for help, randomly quit, or you know, don't try to help you when you're in danger, or don't ask for help when they're in danger. And it kind of just ruins the fun a little bit, because a big part of this game is to play together and have a lot of fun. Really nice plane kill there with the Roland Gepard combo, I gotta say. But yeah, in general, we really did well in the middle here. There's about 13 minutes left on the clock. We got our Mistral firing away at the Mi-8. Now the reload time on this is pretty long. After firing one, it needs, you know, like what, 7-8 seconds? Maybe 10 seconds? I don't know. But it's really accurate too. 60% is actually really good for a man-pad. Now here we go, we got our Roland once again, tapping that, and I believe the Chaparral might have actually taken the kill there, so nicely positioned Chaparral there as well. And yeah, so in general, really good little fight here. We are going to speed it up slightly, because the rest of the match is basically, well, kind of boring, and I don't want to give you guys boring content. So what we do here is try to smoke off this little portion. We're moving empty supply trucks as like a sacrificial goat, basically. We get some high explosives here to try to thin out the enemy positions. And we move VAP T20s with anti-tank infantry, because that is really the only thing we have left. We'll move these units into the town to try to basically take out whatever we could spot. But Jeffrey makes a mistake once again, and that is to show his tanks to the enemy's position, and he loses an M1A1 already, and he falls back with the command instead of smoking this area, or at least smoking this corner and getting that unit in there. I think it's a bit of a problem of target fixation, and not realizing, you know, that there's 90% of the rest of the map that you could play on. Now the chasseurs do make it in there, the group anti-char as well. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit here because that was just a long build-up session. AMX-30s are actually doing a really good job of blocking off the enemy position here, taking out the Buratino immediately. And we also have the AMX-30s take out the BMPs, so this is what I love doing. I love to cut off their resupply routes and then hope that my teammate actually attacks. But this was kind of annoying me quite a bit on the inside. I didn't really let them know that because, you know, they could be new in or whatever. But finally they're moving in, but it's going to be a little bit late because my dudes are already on their last breath. My tanks are holding on for dear life over there. They're probably going to get bombed or something. So, and once again, just pushing without any smoke. Which is not a good idea. And the command tank is dead, I believe. Yeah, so there goes also the command tank. So a lot of mistakes, but a lot of good mistakes. You can definitely learn from these, and they're easy to fix as well. We had a really fun fight over here, though. Now, we do have a renewed push from the AI, and also Tupa, somehow, with an empty supply truck. Poor guy. But we have two AMX-30s that are holding the line here. That's going to make short work of those. Now, the T-55 does show up. Luckily for us, it misses his shot. Our AMX-30 opens up once again, but also misses, so we have a lot of misses going on here. Well, they both missed twice. But we miss, or we hit the third time. That T-55 is already a little bit pissed off and takes revenge. But unfortunately for us... Oh, we hit again. Who's gonna win this one? Oh, come on. Now the AMX-30 does have a faster fire rate. It's 9 versus 7. Oh my god. This is painful to watch. And we lose it. And we lose it. Look at that. Look at the amount of units that there is in here. I bet you most of the units here have been moved over to the left. Nope, actually I was wrong. He just has a ton of units in there. Now I do decide to move in some Dragon Paras. These guys have the DMR or the sniper rifle, so they're gonna just try to get into a building. It's literally the last unit I have left. And right now we're just doing something just to troll the enemy a little bit with. We're moving a VAP PC command through the enemy's lines, but unfortunately for us, AI already knows you're doing this. Otherwise, it might have actually worked. And the AI also puts commands in zones that don't need a command anymore, so that's also kind of a little bit unfair from the command, from the AI, because I would have captured this entire zone and put us up at +4 or 5, and I would have also moved this command over here, and he wouldn't know it. So that's a little bit of a shame there. Now we do neutralize this area. I actually finally move in my command tank and smoke off the area, but our teammate is still chilling. Jeffrey, if you're watching this, this is the reason I drink 10 cups of coffee a day. Alright. Now our VAP PC is going to take out an Oregon as revenge for all of that artillery that we took to the face. So it's firing away with the M2. Are we going to actually finish the job here? Let's see. He's down to 3 HP. Oh, come on, Fat PC. Keep it up, brother. 2 HP. 1, come on. Ah! Ah, we didn't get it. Oh, no, dude. Oh, that sucks. That sucks real bad. Yeah. It didn't really make me really happy after, you know, after that, but teammate once again pushing without smoke. I mean, smoke here does not do anything, guys. It enables you to push up a little bit more, but that is literally it. you're just gonna get 80 gems. You want to push up with tanks. The moment you see a flare, you pop smoke. But by that time, he would have been like over here already. And then next time he peeks out, he will have a line of sight. And he will have spotted them and he can take them out quite nicely. But he keeps doing this, which is the worst idea because you're just making yourself the easiest target ever. And the 80 gems are once again gonna open up. And you're gonna lose both of these Bradleys. Probably at the same time too. Nope, never mind, you got lucky and they both missed. This is the time you would want to smoke. But yeah, that was just a waste of Bradleys. A10 does come in, takes out Buratino, almost takes out the Tunguska there. Someone commented that it's pronounced Tunguska, but Tunguska just sounds better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Now we get a double Mirage team going in to try to take out some helicopters. We do take out the Mi-24P, almost the Mi-24D. I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful that we could pull this off. But unfortunately on the left side, we still didn't do the thing that we wanted to do here initially. Now Royal Mail does put in units where I was hoping for him to put units in. But he didn't smoke off that corner and kind of just shove a command in there. Which would have definitely been a good job there. Or, you know, a good move. Yeah, this is what I don't like about the AI. They put commands everywhere where you don't need a command. Including over here, 2 commands. Like, that is unnecessary. And it could have meant that we, you know, pulled up a little bit more and we maybe could have been at 1,000 points. But yeah, we're just gonna speed through it because this just gets annoying here. Doesn't really become an entertaining match. But definitely try to listen to your teammates, because I was just typing in chat the entire time and they were not really taking the hint of trying to push for these corners. I kept telling them just smoke it off, get a command in there just like I did, so that at least we don't give them a +2 lead for 40 minutes and then try to come back from it in the last 2 seconds. That's usually never ends well. The initial push that he had on the right side was definitely a good one. It was just not good enough because the enemy was just better. Sometimes the enemy is just better, you can't really push up. Just like I had with my previous match, the 1v1 against Medi. He was just better in that situation. He also had recon here and tanks here and Mi-24s, and that is just going to ruin your day. But yeah, really long match here, but we got, you know, we did our job. We got 10k kills, only 5,600 losses. Our AMX-30s just worked like a champion. And we spotted their field depot and we destroyed some mortars. Simply because we put our AMX AUF-1s on counter battery. So that the AI just basically takes over. Which might definitely be a better way of doing it since there is no RD trails. And the enemy will probably not even know where you're firing from either. Now look at this AMX-30 destroying Tunguskas, Buratinos left and right. And especially the AMX-10 RC destroying a T80UD like a champion. And the group anti-char doing a lot of good work as well. Milan 2 destroying T55s left and right. Just a really good battle group to use. I definitely recommend that. And holy crap, a seed plane killed a Tunguska? Now that is probably a bug. That shouldn't happen. That should not happen. I need to let Eugen know right now.